As the protagonist, after solving that pretty easy puzzle, makes his way into the new arena with the garage door-like thing opening slowly, and then he enters. Looking up the CRTV playing the latest, not news, but the newest game.
This advanced obstacle course is designed to test your physical endurance and strength. The rules are simple. The lights will turn off. You can move through the obstacle course at this time. However,
As the protagonist hears a bunch of
you
legs
can look
pitter-pattering,
around, but cannot move.
and then he looks up to see something coming
You may
out of the
move
shadows.
again once the
A
lights
dark,
turn back
looming
on.
scare.
The lovable PJ Pugapillar will follow you. If PJ
As a
reaches you,
weird
your
caterpillar
test
with
is
a
over.
dog head comes out of
That's
nowhere.
all. Good luck.
As the player boops him on the nose, and then looks around at this creepy yet adorable little buddy, and the player just keeps slapping him. And then she appears.
It was always so sad to see the kids go. They called me Mommy because I was the closest thing they ever had to one. But they come for games and never come back. They left Mommy to die alone. Mommy didn't deserve that. But you worked here. So if anyone deserves to die alone.
As the protagonist realizes what, suddenly the game begins. As the lights go on, the protagonist begins booking it. Then he stops. Booking it again, he realizes what he needs to do, and then he stops. Clambering up a weird kid's toy thing. He pauses. As the protagonist continues to keep it pushing. Stopping. Again. Keeping it pushing, he tries and tries. Realizing he might be cooked. Stopping, he realizes he's just going to go through the easy tunnel. As he stops, then he continues. Realizing PJ is going to be in here with him, the protagonist begins trying to move faster. Then he stops. Then the protagonist keeps moving. Stopping again. Falling into some foam blocks, he sees PJ getting closer. Stopping again. PJ edging closer to the protagonist. The protagonist realizes it's blocked, and so he just straight up uses the grab pack to burst through a window and look down at PJ, who confused walks around it. The protagonist then seeing the full extent of what Mummy Longlegs had done. She had literally blocked off his only escape, and so, doing the most logical thing, the protagonist jumps. And not knowing where they are, now being in some weird, elaborate cave network.
The game is over.
They look up and see a thing they can grab onto. As the protagonist begins running, not wanting to stick around, as if there's something worse than death. It's an angry woman.
Mommy's just decided you won. Come back.
As the protagonist is saying, nope, keeps it pushing. As the protagonist realizes, you kinda cheated, mate. And so we continue. As the protagonist goes into an event, crawling through, he hears Mummy still going through midlife crisis. And after reaching a new area, he looks up, grabs onto something, and pulls himself up, reaching the top. Looking a wee bit around, he goes up some stairs until he reaches the top area of something. And looking around, he takes a right, see a massive water treatment plant. Hitting a button, he realizes these buttons control the machine. So after realizing what he needs to do, he just begins pressing buttons. As the protagonist realizes he doesn't need it in that area, he realizes he sees a scanny thing which is probably required to open a door. So the protagonist begins spamming the buttons, hoping it does something useful. As they finally get it to work, and they even see a wee little tape across the pond. Collecting it, the protagonist pushes on. As they hit a button on a new cardboard cutout.
To be or not to be? That is the question. You and I were meant to be. Don't make me sting you. I'll do it. You need to get out of here.
As the protagonist realizes what?
Just kidding. Go have fun.
As the protagonist, a wee bit disturbed at that comment, decides to see what he needs to do and realizes he needs to make these plushies go the left way. And then they hit a blue button. Turning around, they look for where else this may need to go. And then they realise they might have missed one. And then they see a cheeky little yellow button, which they promptly hit. After going up to the tippity top, they hit one lost button. As they wait and then yoink a bunzo toy before going up a little bit more to see if they missed anything, and they spot a berry trophy which they happily collect before going down. So after collecting the wee little tape, they go look for where they can play it. Looking around for a wee minute, they don't really see anything. As they try looking for the tape player. As they find it oh, there it is. As they see it's a purple one.
Jimmy, your work as Playtime Co.'s chief marketing officer has skyrocketed the company's profits. How do you do it?
You know, it's not what you'd expect. It's the little things most people don't even think about. Like, take names, for example. Surprised people haven't realized this. You take the E sound, slap it on the end of a name, boom, you're making bank. Huggy, Mommy. Even Elliot knew this way back with Poppy.
I guess I
Oh,
kind
blue.
of...
Blue is huge. I'm telling you. What's your favorite color? Blue? I bet it's blue, right? It's blue?
It's green.
Okay, well, you're a special case. Most people say
As the
But
as
seriously,
the protagonist
marketing is
chuckles
not
at that a
as easy
wee
as you
bit.
think. I make it look easy. If there's anything Playtime Co. should be known for, it's not toys. It's marketing.
The protagonist realizing the whole point of toys is to make bloody money. The mate is making no bloody sense. Now, the protagonist goes back to just slapping buttons. As they wonder if they figured it out. And no, it's literally the same way as it was before. So, a wee bit angry at the fact that they literally just put themselves at square one, or square two. They just hit the top button instead of the bottom. As the protagonists realizing that they finally do it, only to realise they did bloody nothing. So they go back again and realise bloody hell ain't this thing working. So they go back up and begin just slapping buttons. Realising that's not what they bloody wanted to do. As they realise that they finally bloody do it. And they did. So they walk up, slapping their bunzo toy, and the doors open. Then they just promptly close behind them. So, unable to go back, the mite just goes forward and keeps it pushing. But then they see their greatest enemy, a bloody grate. So, they just start venting. If I could, I would put an Among Us meme. Realising this is not the right room they want to be in. As I take a peek real quickly. As they see a tape player and nothing much else. So, they go back and vent. After venting and not doing any tasks, or killing anybody recently. Be killed Huggy. Protagonist sees another swing. Bloody hell. The protagonist manages to G-Pro their way out of there. And then they see no green hand, and when they do this, it works. Then they see a tape which they happily grab. But then the protagonist grabs an energy charge and Tarzans their way across. Slapping it in. They realise they need to hurry. Realising it ran out of charge, the bloody player curses their luck and goes and tries again. Rejecting the green hand, they grab it, they grab the charge, swing across. Offers was bloody death and it was too far. It was the bloody 4 damage. Our first bloody death and it was the bloody 4 damage in it. As the protagonist, having died to bloody 4 damage, tries again. And so they swing across, you wink of a charge. They get the green stuff. Not well, don't you dirty-minded freaks, not that green stuff. They slap it in. They go. Grab all that in it and complete the puzzle. Trying the narrator, they don't get the Cassie treatment. They crawl through these vents until, as a player, probably breaking their knees, looks around and sees weird glowing red lights. Never a good sign that the protagonist thinks. As they walk over and go and try and grab the thing until Mummy Longlegs absolutely slams coming down from the top ring. As Mummy Longlegs, now very angry, begins to head towards the protagonist. As she begins to look more deranged while straining her body, as her eyes then go fully black, and the protagonist, realizing they don't have long, begins running down the stairs.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Hoping to narrate and Mummy Longlegs isn't behind them, the protagonist keeps it pushing. After looking around, they realise, what a bloody minute, where the hell are they? But they continue through these dingy areas, going up a staircase. They see they need to crawl yet again through a tunnel, just like near the beginning of the game. As they then keep pushing and they reach another tunnel, a bit longer than the last one. They crawl through it until they reach the end where they see a nice beautiful vent shaft, which they jump down to be in a more colourful yet still depressing hallway. So, not wanting to be a Debbie Downer, they keep it pushing, and it's a wee bit creepy down here. Ignoring the creepy factor being turned up to 11, they look around. They take a left, and then they see a lever. Grabbing onto it, they wonder which door it's going to open, and it opens the one to their left. So, the protagonist jumps through, and they see a Mummy Longlegs statue which they grab before being promptly dropped through another vent. The protagonist, realising why there's so many Cassie killers in here, they look around and realise, oh, pulling a lever does nothing, so they keep pushing. Opening a totally not creepy door, they see nothing. Walking a short distance, they reach another creepy door, which they open to a room with a bunch of levers. Looking around and then up, they see they need to grab onto another glowing bar, which they use to pull themselves up and see what they need to do. As they then see a block with a weird wire next to it. Striding to see what wire, they see it's a blue one. Actually no, they see it's a red wire. Looking over and around, they look for 2. Seeing it's a blue wire. So red, blue, green, yellow, they think. So they look around, memorize where the levers are, and they look for red, blue, green, yellow. Which works, surprisingly so. So the protagonist, happy with this, continues forward. Then they take a right and don't really see anything. Until Mummy Longlegs absolutely comes out of the left field and begins chasing the protagonist. The protagonist realises there's only one place they can hide, and so they lift themselves up just as Mummy comes in there. While running around, she looks for our hero, or villain, whenever you ask. protagonist struggling to hang on. Looks down and still sees. Dropping down, they see she's gone. So after being chased like it's a creepy poster, they push on. They keep it pushing. As they enter a weird room and see a red gear which they can take, so they do. Then they see a green charge and they see it can be attached to an oven. Doing it just for funsies, they walk up some stairs and find where the beeping's coming from, putting that red gear into it. As they see, they can't get any more electricity. But when the electricity runs out from that thing, it comes back in the receiver thing. Oh no, it's called. And after opening the oven doors, they find, guess what? Another gear. So with their new gear, they look around and see where it can go. Into a machine which then pull the lever of. After it opens, they go and walk until Mummy Longlegs yet again comes out the left field. The protagonist realizing what they need to do, insert that. As they close the door quickly, having the oven on, they hold the door shut in case Mummy tries to break in. Letting go, they wait for the dramatic music to calm down. And they carefully peek out. Clambering out, they look around and realise that Mummy Longlegs is gone. So they carefully walk back, finding a lever. Realising they should probably get back. They back as far away as they can and pull it. Suddenly Mummy Longlegs comes out of the left field and the protagonist begins running. Suddenly their path begins collapsing and the protagonist has no choice but to just walk it. So running up some places, they see a hand coming out of the right field, then a hand coming out of the left field. Their worst nightmare, they think. As they then begin pulling themselves upwards, taking a right, because their path is kind of fast. They keep running until they see a hole in the ground, which they jump through and realise it leads back to where they first found their emergency exit. So after pulling the lever, they make a break for it and realise they lost Mummy. Taking a definitely needed sigh of relief. They see a blue hand scanning and hope that Mummy doesn't come and steal that blue hand. So, they begin scanning it. Suddenly, Mummy Longlegs comes out of nowhere, begins absolutely glitching and running her way to them. The protagonist praying for the bloody door to open. They crouch and try and go under it. But then they see Mummy come in the room, and they pull the lever. Suddenly activating a grinder, which Mummy gets her arms stuck in.
What have you done?
As Mummy begins freaking out, or being dragged into the grinder by her arms. As her arms get sucked in there, basically beheading her. Suddenly though, a weird, gangly hand comes out of nowhere and drags her head away, claiming it as their own. Protagonist realizing that was their victory. Annoyed, they can't really do anything about it. And so, after the door opens and the dust settles, the protagonist keeps it pushing as normal. Walking up some totally not dangerous or creepy stairs, they realize what could possibly be next in this toy factory of terror, not knowing of what lies ahead. Jumping across, they continue. Taking some turns, they reach another cassette tape player. Finding the tape on the floor, they insert it into this what looks to be very damaged setup before looking at the TV, which has been cracked.
08502.
Actually, no, isn't cracked, but displays that gangly hand they saw.
1006. The prototype.
Wondering what this
First call occurred
prototype
this week in
is,
which he nearly
they recognize
reached
the
containment.
hand that's on the TV.
The prototype seemingly disassembled the digital alarm clock within his room and utilized the battery, along with several other components, to create a laser pointer, which he then fired into the security camera, disabling it. These actions allowed him 28.3 seconds completely unmonitored. Once
The
functioning
protagonist
through the
thinking that's
camera,
very
the room
specific,
appeared
wonders
to be
why
empty.
that's the issue.
One surveillance specialist went in to confirm his absence. However, upon opening the door, she realized that the prototype had hidden in one of the camera's blind spots. The prototype attempted to escape through the open door. However, another surveillance specialist was able to remotely relock the door, despite the other specialists still being inside.
Protagonist
One
realizing that's
casualty
awful,
occurred.
wonders what
The
happens
prototype
next.
seems to possess an unprecedented level of intelligence, beyond that of all other test subjects, as well as an alarming willingness to commit violence. Further suppression treatments will need to be enacted to ensure that no other experiments develop these qualities. Experiment 1170, Huggy Wuggy, remains the optimal outcome due to his sufficient intelligence paired with maximum obedience. End of log.
As the protagonist kind of recognizes that voice from a previous tape, but he can't remember what tape. So after opening a door, they reach the catwalks above the game station. So, with no leads and nowhere else to go, they go to regroup with Puppy Playtime. Taking some notes that are on and nearby. They then take the last train code from Puppy.
Did you kill her? Good. I'll board the train. We need to leave.
As Puppy walks off into a small vent, where she disappears from view, and the protagonist, not really have anything else to do, walks through the now open door and continues, realizing they can finally escape this hellish factory. So after taking the last slide ride, they open a door and go to board the bloody train out of here. Using their green hand, they unlock it and enter. As I remember that they tried doing this before, but it failed. As the protagonist begins getting to work on the code. As they realise what order do they need to do it in. 1, 3, 2, 4. One, 3, 2, 4. Completing this puzzle, protagonist goes and gets everything started. The doors closing, and they honk the horn in success. Now the train begins moving, and the protagonist can finally relax, knowing they've finally able to leave this hellish factory. As the protagonist just waits, knowing they can finally escape, go home, and leave. The protagonist sits and just waits for what's next.
I was
Try and
so
take
scared she'd put
suddenly
me back
Poppy
in
can
that
be heard.
case. But you saved me. You are perfect. Too perfect to lose. I'm sorry.
As the
I can't
protagonist
let you
realizes
leave.
what, standing up, they see their
I've
exit,
never met
their
anyone
escape
like you.
disappearing. As they realize what's
Do you
going
know how
on,
long I've been stuck in that case?
realizing Poppy's
Well,
trapping him here,
too long.
they begin to worry.
I had so much time to think and reflect. Time to figure out exactly what I would do when free. We'll set things right. Terrible things have happened. But I know that whatever I need you to do, you're capable. We will.
As protagonist wonders what, they will what? As Puppy suddenly gets disconnected, or the protagonist now worrying, knowing that no one now is controlling the train, realizes what are they supposed to bloody do? Then the train begins picking up speed, getting faster and faster. As the protagonist begins smacking buttons, seeing that he can't do anything as the train begins building up more speed. Suddenly an alarm goes off as they slap the red button and it stops. As they try hitting some more buttons, suddenly the alarm comes back and they try slapping it. As the words stop train appear on a small monitor, the protagonist realizing they're more able to brake, hits and pulls it, pulling with all their might. Suddenly the train begins getting dysfunction and crashes, the protagonist being thrown around inside as it absolutely body slams into the wall sideways, the protagonist passing out from the impact. The last thing they see is a sign that says, "Play care." Then the view cuts to darkness